Hey guys, this is Austin, and today, for the first time in over a year, it's time for Q&A. Talk about your first PC build. So if you go back through the channel, you'll see that I've been doing PC build videos since 2011 or so, and a lot of the reason why I started doing those was because when I wanted to build my first PC, there were a lot of good tutorials showing you how to do it, but I couldn't really find any good resources for finding what parts I should actually use. So I started making those guides myself, and then I finally built one. So yes, I actually made the first couple of PC videos purely based on theory, and I actually didn't build any of them. GIF or GIF? This is not a debate. It's very obvious. It's GIF. Getting a nod of approval from Jimmy over here?
It's GIF.
It's GIF.
Yeah.
Ken? Ken?
GIF.
Okay, I was about to say, we were about to have a problem. GIF. What are your favorite pair of headphones right now? I'm going to sound like a giant loser, but I actually really like the Apple AirPods. Yes, they don't sound that great. Yes, they're kind of expensive, but I've never used a pair of wireless headphones that were so seamless jumping between your computer, between your phone, between your tablet. It actually does really work pretty well. First car and favorite car. So my first car was a 2000 Mercury Cougar, and it was less than amazing, but it was my first car and I loved it. I remember I picked it up for $1,500. It had bald tires. Someone had hit it and then they like repaired it with like Bondo and stuff, but I didn't care. It was my first car and I loved it. What music are you listening to? I've been listening to a ton of Everybody by Logic. So it dropped a few days ago, and I mean, I'm a big Logic fanboy, I'll free to admit, and I think Everybody is really good. Besides that though, I've actually been listening to Starboy a fair bit. I think that I've never really been that into the weekend, but that's been good. And I've been listening to a lot of Cole lately. When are you collabing a video with Ralphie? I actually did a video with Ralphie just a couple weeks ago. So it's over on his Lego channel, Build, Play, Repeat, where we built a F1 Ferrari monstrosity. What starting camera would you recommend for kids on YouTube? Smartphone. Seriously, this is what I recommend anyone to start with on YouTube. Sure, it's nice to have bigger and better cameras as you get more advanced, as you want to be able to do more things, but for pretty much anyone starting out, unless you're doing something very, very specific, a smartphone's totally good enough. Why did your parents give you the name Duncan? Stop, stop, you don't even have to do this right now, okay? So my name actually isn't Duncan. That was an old internet name from when I was like 10. However, my parents actually did end up naming their dog Duncan because, you know, they thought it would be funny. Favorite non-tech YouTuber? I actually watch a lot of science YouTubers. So people like Smarter Every Day, CGP Grey, Veritasium. I think these are some of the channels that I actually really enjoy because even though I make tech videos, after a while I kind of get tired of watching them, so it's nice to see something a little different. What phone did you have when you first started YouTube? I actually didn't even own a phone when I first started on YouTube, which is why it was such a big deal when I had my first iPod Touch, is even though it didn't have a camera, at least it was something I could use that had apps and things. But no, my first smartphone was actually a Palm Pixie Plus. When do you want to get a baby? No. Have you been affected by the YouTube ad crisis? Thankfully, no. So I know a lot of my friends, especially in the gaming side, have been kind of hurt. People who make more controversial content. But as far as I'm concerned, tech is pretty neutral. And so, no, I actually really haven't seen any major difference, plus negative. It seems about the same as it was beforehand. How many anime series / movies have you been forced to watch? I will give Ken full credit here. I've been forced to watch exactly 0 anime of any kind. How long is the process for a video? From planning to filming to editing? It depends. Some things that are a little bit more simple, like an unboxing, can sometimes be done in a day if we're really going quickly. Usually it's a little bit more like 2 days between getting the product and shooting it, then editing it and getting everything else done. But then there are bigger projects, for example, when we went to B&H up in New York City, where it took a couple months just to plan out kind of getting up there, getting clearance to use the store, all that kind of stuff. Then the shoot itself only took a couple hours, but then the edit took like 5 days. Any plans for coming to India? It's funny, so we did Team Crispy a little over a year ago in Los Angeles, which was easy because a lot of us are based here. But if we ever do a Team Crispy 2 or even just a meetup, I actually would probably do it in India. There's so many of you guys who are so hardcore that, I mean, it's a little bit of a flight, but worth it. Maybe, we'll see. Did you drop out of college? No, I actually never went to college in the first place. Because I started doing YouTube a couple years before I ever made any kind of college decisions, by the time it came around, I was like, I'm already doing what I want to do. Although you should stay in school, kids, just not me. Who makes your thumbnails? Why, Mr. Kenneth Bolito, of course, thumbnail extraordinaire. No, but for real, you can look at some of Ken's thumbnails compared to when I made thumbnails, and you should probably be able to see the difference. PS4, Xbox, or Switch? It's funny you mention that because I did an entire video comparing the PS4 to the Xbox One to the Switch. Spoiler alert, I think the Switch totally wins if you want any kind of portability, obviously. And as far as the actual console you want to use, well, you have to watch the video because I'm not going to spoil it. Were you into technology at a young age, or did you discover it later in your life? I was into technology the second I got my first Game Boy Color. So I think I was about 6 or so, and as soon as I had that and realized how cool it was and what all I could do with it, I was pretty much hooked. Would you ever date a fan? Asking for a friend. My girlfriend might have something to say about that. Can you call Ken Savage Kenny for the rest of your videos? Yes, I can call Savage Kenny his real true name of Savage Kenny. Yo, you win question of the video, my friend. That was pretty good. So that is it for this Q&A. Don't exactly get used to these, as I probably won't do another one for like a year or so, but hopefully you guys had some interesting questions answered. And of course, if you have anything else you want to know, hit me up on Instagram and especially Twitter. Anyway, thanks for watching this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one.